because I have some emergency to deal with, so I have to come here a little bit later than scheduled. There are, first of all, one piece of information I want to disclose. That is the actual utilization of foreign funds from January to September this year. In the first 9 months of this year, there are following characteristics in terms of utilization of foreign funds. First is that in the first 9 months, we newly established 30,871 foreign-funded enterprises, and the actual utilization of foreign funds reached 683.2 RMB, up by 6.5%. And in September, the actual utilization of foreign fund reached 79.18 billion USD, up by 3.8%. And second, the high-tech industry has seen major growth in terms of attraction of foreign capital. In the first 9 months, the actual utilization of foreign funds reached 188.2 billion RMB, and in service industry, the number is 486 billion RMB, up by 12.9%. The actual utilization of foreign fund in high-tech reached 203 billion RMB, up by 39.8%, accounting for 29% of the total. We especially see growth in pharmacy, medical equipment, and meters and equipment manufacturing industries, which is up by 40.7%, 33.1%, and 10.7% respectively. The high-tech service industry's actual utilization of foreign capital reached 129 billion RMB, up by 61.3%, among which is the information service, R&D and design, and the transfer of technological results. Service industry's growth reached 52%, 57%, and 74% respectively. And third, in both the eastern and western regions, the actual utilization of foreign capital is up by 6.8% and 10.8% respectively. In the free trade pilot zone, this number is 98.8 billion RMB, accounting for 14.5%. Fourth, among the major source of environment, Hong Kong SAR, Macau SAR, Singapore, ROK, and Japan's investment is up by 8.7%, 51%, 27.8%, 28.7%, 4% respectively. In the BRI countries, the actual investment of Asian countries is up by 14.9% and 17.5% respectively. That's the information I want to brief you today. Now the floor is open to questions. With Economic Daily, Premier Hu Zhenhua will be attending the Economic Cooperation Forum in Pacific Island countries. Can you brief us on that situation, especially the trade situation with these island countries in the Pacific region? This forum is an important and platform of highest level between China and the island countries in the Pacific regions. It's an important opportunity for us to enhance our cooperation with relevant countries. And President Xi Jinping has made important consensus when meeting with the leaders of these countries. This is the third forum and it will be held from October the 20th to 23rd. And in Samoa, Vice Premier Hu Chunhua will lead the Chinese delegation to attend this forum. More than 400 government officials and representatives from international and regional organizations, businesses, experts, and scholars will be attending this forum, discuss how to conduct all-round cooperation between China and the island countries in the Pacific region in order to promote our relations and trade deals into a new level. Besides opening ceremony, we will be also holding special forums on trade, agriculture, fishery, environmental protection, climate change, infrastructure constructions. And there will also be meetings concerning the cooperative projects between the two sides. To tell you more about the scale of cooperation, the scale expanding into different areas, and there are multiple ways for us to conduct cooperation, and there are more mutual interests according to available statistics. In 2018, China worked with 8 relevant countries, and the total trade volume is up by 25%, reaching $4.3 billion USD, and export and import is also increasing by a large margin. With Solomon Island, with their first biggest trade partner and destination of investment, and we're the third biggest trading partner with Samoa. And our trade volume grew from 900 million USD to 4.5 billion USD, and we conduct cooperation in all fields of commerce and trade. The total contract volume reached 15 billion USD in terms of water projects, the hydro project, as well as other infrastructure projects. Next question, please. Thank you. Premier Hu Chunhua will also be visiting the Philippines. Can you tell us more about the situation and the trade relations between China and the Philippines? In recent years, we see more and more frequent visiting and communications between the highest leaders of the both countries. This year, President Xi Jinping visited the Philippines and has defined the bilateral relations as the comprehensive strategic partnership. And this year, President Xi Jinping met with President Duterte twice. With the strong push from the leaders, from the two leaders, our cooperation have saw major growth. With the biggest trade partner, and according to our statistics, in 2018, the total volume reached 55 billion USD, up by 8.5%. In the first 9 months, the trade volume between these two countries reached 44 billion USD, up by 6.1%. And our investment to Philippines is also increasing. The first 8 months, the direct investment is up by 103%. And there are also more personal exchanges. Last year, the tourists to Philippines from China reached 1.2 million, and this year we're expected to exceed 1.5 million person times. And this year, Premier Hu visited the Philippines, so we're looking to further enhance the quality of our cooperation, especially around the Belt and Road initiatives. and also to push forward the launching of major projects, enhance multilateral and regional cooperation. During his visit, multiple documents of cooperation will be signed. Next question, please.
中国同意将美国农业购买额增加到每年400到500亿美元。这个数据是否准确？中国增加对美国农产品的购买有哪些先决条件？是否需要美方先缩减或者全部或者部分报复性关税，然后再加大农产品的采购？谢谢。
谢谢你的提问。根据
Thank you for the question.
今年以来。
According to available statistics since this year, the Chinese businesses, according to their domestic market demand and according to market rules, have imported a certain scale of agricultural products from the U.S., including soybeans and 700 tons of pork and 230,000 tons of wheat and 300,000 tons of cotton. And we have just recently finished the 13th round of China-U.S. talk on and trade consultation, touching upon major issues and aiming at addressing them in a highly efficient way. And major improvements and achievements were made. One of the agreement includes that China will, based on domestic demand, increase its import of agricultural products from the U.S., and the U.S. should have the responsibility for creating a more favorable condition for that. I'm not in a position to disclose more details at this point, but all trade is based on mutual respect and mutual benefit. It is only with this kind of spirit can we further enhance and promote the cooperation and reach a new agreement that accepted to both sides. In the last round of talk, we have made major improvements. This is because we work towards each other and take into consideration each other's major concerns. We are more than willing to work with the U.S. to deepen our dialogue in order to address the differences in the trade and economic fields so that we can normalize our relationship and push it into the right track. Next question, please. So agreement will be made in the recent time, say in 3 months. Can you be more specific about the measures? Thank you for that question. The first question, the two working teams are talking in a timely fashion according to the consensus made in the last round. We are also speeding up our our working schedule. I do not have more information at this stage. The second question, this year, due to factors like trade protectionism, the world economy is slowing down, and many economic organizations have turned down their expectation, their forecast of the global economy and market. The domestic market demand is also shrinking. In September, the import and export volume is down by 33.3% comparatively, and the scale of trade, but is also creates a historical high. In September, the total volume of import and export is the highest month of this year, and it's increased by 2.4% month by month. In Q3, the total volume of import and export is up by 0.7%. In the first 7 months, the speed of growth is faster than about 65% of economic entities around the world, and the scale of trade has remained stable and keeps improving in terms of its structure, and the quality is also improved. And the total trend of positive development has not changed. Coming up, we will also be working with the localities and the government and the businesses to try to find new patterns and direct orientations for development and help the enterprises to expand the global market and also create a more favorable condition for trade so that the foreign trade of China can develop in a more sound and healthy way. Next question, please. With South China Morning Post, in the last round of talk between China and the U.S., and as far as we know, we have already begun the purchase of U.S. agricultural product. Can you confirm that piece of information? The Chinese enterprises, according to market rules and their domestic demand, has always been keep on purchasing U.S. agricultural products. If I have more information, I will disclose them in a timely fashion. Next question, please. The U.S. has promised to postpone the tariff on the $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. So can you confirm that? And is that one of the major consensus made on the side of the U.S.? China has not changed in terms of its principles, its goals, and stance in these negotiations. The ultimate goal is to stop the trade war and to cancel all of the imposed tariffs. This is benefit for China, for the U.S., and the world. It is our hope that both sides can work together to push forward this negotiation and reach a consensus, especially when it comes to the lift of these tariffs. With China News Agency, when will the agreement of the first stage of negotiation be signed? As I said, the working teams of both sides are speeding up the negotiation, and it's our hope to make a consensus as for the terms of the agreement. If I have more information about the future talks, I will disclose them in a timely manner. Next question, please, with the Xinhua News Agency. In the 13th round of talk, we touched upon issues in terms of finance, agriculture, and exchange rate. So can you update us more on that front? And some people criticize this, that these progress that we have made during this round of talk is quite is insufficient to address the current trade tensions. Thank you for the question. The first question, I'm sorry, I do not have more information at this point. The second question, China has always taken the point that cooperation is the best choice for both countries for both countries and the only right choice for us to address the tensions that we are facing right now. We have already made some achievement at this stage, which is helpful to reduce this uncertainty and restore market confidence. And it can also contribute to the stabilization of the global economy. I believe that based on the foundation of equality, we can make more progress in the future and find a solution that is acceptable to both sides. Next question, please. My question is about foreign statistics. We saw a decrease in terms of import as well as export. So can you explain the reason behind this kind of drop? Because our import from the U.S. is down by, I think, 20%. Is that one of the contributors to this? And U.S. is no longer the second trade partner with China, so will Asian countries take its place? Thank you for the question. About the import statistics, according to our data that we have seen a slight decrease of import, which is about 10.4 billion, down by 0.1%. The major contributors to this is, first of all, the drop of import from the U.S., which is down by 22.5%. At the same time, crude oil, steel, wood, rubber, coal, soybean, and pulp market price are also experiencing a drop. This contributes to about 5.5 percentage point to the total drop. Through holding the CIIE, lowering the tariff, and also improve the level of trade facilitation measures, we have further opening up our market and promote the export from other countries. That has contributed to the stabilized condition in terms of import. In terms of trading partner issues, according to available statistics, in the first half of this month, Asia has surpassed the U.S. to become the second biggest trading partner with China. However, America is still an important trading partner with China, despite the differences and difficulties that we are experiencing now, which is, I think, triggered and retaliation from which is triggered by the U.S. side and escalated by them. However, we see this kind of big drop in terms of the bilateral trade, which means that trade war is not beneficial for neither of the countries. So it's important for us to go back to the normal track, continue our talk, and take into consideration the trade development and global economic prosperity in mind when we are carrying on with the trade talks. Next question, please. With the Shanghai Security newspaper, the State Council has just granted the pilot zone for CIO Trade Development Zone, pilot zone in Qingdao. So why do we choose Qingdao as the location to build the trade pilot zone? The reason why we choose Qingdao as the location for the pilot trade zone is that it is first announced by President Xi Jinping last year during the SCIO conference. According to the plan of the State Council, this pilot zone will make full use of the advantages of Qingdao in its location, its harbor resources, and economic benefits, and will enhance its interactions with all the other industrial parks and build a new platform for BRI cooperation. There are 4 focal points. First, to build a regional logistics center and increase the interconnectiveness within this region of SCIO. Second is to build a modern trade center in order to enhance the trade cooperation within the region. Third is to build a bilateral trade and investment center, especially reinforcing the cooperation in terms of capabilities. And fourth is to promote the development of commerce, tourism, and culture. MOFCOM will be working with the Shandong provincial government to create a more favorable condition for the development of this pilot zone. Thank you. Next question, please. So will lowering the tariff or cancel the tariff be a prerequisite before China increases purchase of U.S. agricultural products? Thank you for the question. The U.S. have increased its reduced its tariff of the Chinese import from the Chinese good, and China also have increased its purchase and import from the side of the U.S., which creates a favorable condition for this round of talk. As far as I'm concerned, the Chinese enterprises are now purchasing from the importing from the U.S. side according to their own demands and the demand of the domestic market. I believe that this round of trade talk can trigger more and give rise to more cooperation in many fields, including agriculture. Besides, after we finish this round of high-level talks, the working teams are also communicating with each other in a very frequent manner and working on the specific details for the agreement. I'm sorry to tell you I'm not currently in a position to disclose more information in this regard. Next question, please. In terms of agriculture products, so how many more import of agricultural product we plan to have in the future? Do the two leaders have plans to meet in the APEC summit next month? The first question, in terms of agricultural products, I have already given a very clear answer. The second question, the working teams are now pinning down the details for the articulation of the agreement. So we are hoping to reach an agreement as soon as we can. We're also communicating and discussing the details of the next round of talks. We will disclose the information once we have more. Thank you. With CMG, notice that the trade and economic volume of China-U.S. has been dropping. So can you elaborate more on the reasons of that? Since the starting of this year, due to the trade tensions we are experiencing, the trade and investment between the two sides experienced a very severe downfall, which has clearly showcased that the trade war is against the interest of China, the U.S., as well as the world. The economies of the both countries is highly mutually complementary, and it's our hope to reach win-win and mutual beneficial. Historical record shows that it's important for us to deal with the current trade problems. This is not only in the interest of the both countries, but also in the interest of the global economy. Hopefully, we can meet each other halfway and to carry out talks on mutual respect and respect in order to push forward the development of the bilateral trade in a sound and healthy manner and contribute to the stabilization of the global economy. Any more questions? A new proposal has been made. In terms of the car manufacturing industry and one of the provincial policies, so can you elaborate on that? I do not have more information at this point. I will talk to the relevant department and give you an answer after that. Thank you for that question. As I said, the working teams of the both sides are still knocking down the details of the 13th round of talk. Both sides are also discussing on the details of the next round of talk. I will disclose the information once we know more. More questions? If no question, that's the end for today's presser. Thank you for coming.